Welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be about the iconic Series 9. Series 9 had a couple of departures from the previous series in Living Dead Dolls run. And this particular series is one of the most highly sought after series. Every doll is amazing. Every doll is highly sought after. And I can't wait to discuss these fabulous dolls. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that Series 9 is known for is that it is the first series to introduce the redesigned body articulation to Living Dead dolls. So prior to Series 9, they had very limited to no articulation whatsoever. You couldn't move their heads, you couldn't move the arms much, and you couldn't move the legs much at all. So with the new body articulation design, there was a ball and socket joint at the shoulders, the hips, and the neck. Series 9 is also the first all-girls series. There will be two more after that with Series 25 or 26. I always get those numbers confused. And that's the All-Witch series or Season of the Witch. And Series 28, which is the Sweet 16 series, starring Sadie and her birthday party guest. Also, Series 9, just like the other dolls that took a departure from the hand-drawn chipboards, they also introduced the photo of the dolls on the chipboards. Normally it would be just like a sketch or or something else on the chipboard, but this time around it's actually a photo of the dolls on the chipboard. So the first doll we're going to talk about, and the way I'm going to talk about these dolls is pretty much kind of the cheapest to the most expensive doll in this series. Okay? And again, it fluctuates, but with Series 9, unfortunately, because it's such a highly sought after series, you may have to pay a little bit more for certain characters within this series, just because of the demand of this Fab 5. So we're going to talk about Blue first. Now, because I have the variants behind me, I do have the chipboards in hand. My display, in case you can't see it in the background, the chipboards are attached to the shelf. So it's a major pain in the neck to undo the chipboards from the shelf. That's why I would take a picture of them and superimpose them in the video. So this time around, I do have the chipboards, all with the exception of Toxic Molly. I do have her chipboard from her variant. I just don't know where it is. So that will be the only one that will have the photo of her chipboard. So this is Blue's chipboard. As you can see, you have the photo here of the doll. And experimenting with the articulation. So you see how her arm is outstretched. Something you couldn't do before. If you want to pause and read that. Now her death date, which I did some research on, pretty much matches up with this band that I came across. They are a Japanese heavy metal band called Darren Gray. I'll put their name on screen. And they had an album called Withering to Death. And coincidentally, Blue here has a shirt that says Dead on her tank top. So it seems like a match in terms of where the guys got the death date from. And the guys themselves, fun fact, they actually have or had a band that they had together. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it in the edit later. But so they are into that alternate music genre, so I wouldn't be surprised if that indeed is where they got the death date from, and if they followed that particular Japanese band. And she does look like she's dressed to go to a concert like that. She has this hat that's like a velvet flocked material, which easily does collect dust, unfortunately. And it's not quite fragile, but I wouldn't, mess with it too much. She has, kind of wavy black hair. It has a weird feel to it. Again, these dolls are 20 plus years old. So I'm not sure what's in it. And usually I just put my fingers through her hair. But, I mean, it's not bad. But it does have like that little bit of greasy feel to it. She has this cool piercing on her lip, which is very similar to Sheena. Really cool. And she just has a beautiful face. Now, according to the Wikipedia page for Living Dead Dolls, some have compared her face to the cover of the Evanescence album of Fallen, which features Amy Lee, a close-up of Amy Lee. I can see it. I didn't think of that, honestly, when I looked at Blue. But that's what it said on the Wikipedia page. Just wanted to share that. She comes with these little leather band cuffs, which, again, be mindful that it is made with that infamous pleather, fake leather material that Living Dead dolls have. And she has this belt, which, again, is still in good condition. She has these cool pants that the zipper actually works. It actually goes up and down. She has a little pocket. You could put something in there. Not much, but something in there. And she has these boots that have blue laces. And she's just such a cool doll. I paid $41 for her, sealed in coffin. And she goes, her price is all over the place, but she goes for about $50 to $100. And she's just such a cool doll. And like I said, all these girls are amazing, and she definitely is in good company. But she does get a little overshadowed because of the other girls. But still, she still is a fan favorite. She has been resurrected. I did show her variant resurrection doll on a previous video when I discussed the Living Dead dolls in Oz. And I will be talking about her resurrection later in a different video. And that's it. That's all I have to say about this amazing doll called Blue. Next is one of my favorite characters overall in Living Dead dolls, and that's Purdy. Now, Purdy is very similar to Bride of Valentine in that she comes with an organ. A very realistic looking one that pops off the head. It's squishy. You can see the blood in the cavity. And it easily goes back. Just squeeze it a little bit. Inside. Really cute. And just to show you, just to demonstrate with the articulation. So here's Bride of Valentine. Now with the articulation, Purdy and all Series 9 and on could tilt their head up, tilt their head to the side, like so, down. And that's something you could not do with the previous series. She also can put her arm out, like so. I never messed with the legs, but the legs are also very posable. Not super posable. I wouldn't I wouldn't try too hard. Don't treat them like Barbies. These are 20-plus-year-old dolls. But again, in terms of posing on shelves, it's so much better than the previous series. No offense, Bride of Valentine. So another big difference you can see too is that you see how she stands like on a tilt. Pretty much the new articulation, they stand up pretty well on their own. If they had shoes, shoes like Bride of Valentine. And Bride of Valentine, if you notice, she's a bit shorter than Purdy, and then Purdy's on a doll stand. So that's another thing with the articulation. They're about a full inch taller than the previous series dolls. So that's something to keep in mind. What I love about Purdy is that she has this horrifying thing going on with her in terms of, like, she clearly has a botched lobotomy, but she has these cute slippers. Oh my god, look how cute these slippers are. And that's what made me fall in love with Purdy. I just love the bunny slippers. Like, it really sells the doll. And, a thing about Series 9, just like the Series 8, they do not have any accessories except for one doll, but they really make up for it with the design of these dolls. I feel like these dolls, and moving forward, the design, the clothing gets better and better as the series goes on. And again, Series 9 is a great example of that. She doesn't come with anything except for the brain that you can remove. And look at that cute little face. And I love posing my Purdy with her arms up, like, oh dear, so that's how I pose my Purdy. And once again, she does have the holes in her hand, just like Blue, but no accessory, just to keep that in mind. Now, her death date is kind of curious. Let me show you her chipboard. And I was reading about it. It coincides with some medical, not discovery, but decision or research that had something to do with taking patients who were brain dead, their organs for donations, for transplants. I don't know. I didn't get the description, so I kind of thought maybe, the person who did the entry kind of consolidated what it was about, and it just didn't make sense to me. So I looked it up, and basically it happened in a medical school in Japan called Sapporo Medical School, and that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't really want to go into the details, bore you with that. So Purdy, I paid $35 open, but still attached to her coffin. She'll run you low end $100 to $120. And she's just so cute. And Purdy, and every other version of Purdy that I have, she has a doll stand because she doesn't stand well on her own because of the slippers. They don't give her a good foundation to stand on. So she always has a doll stand. And that's all I have to say on the lovely Purdy. Now this doll is an amazing doll, and now we're starting to get into the heavy hitters in Series 9, and that is Eliza Day. Now, the interesting thing with Eliza Day is that her chipboard does not have her full name. And so when you search for this doll, you have to search under Eliza Day, not just Eliza. And Eliza Day is a folk story from Ireland. Basically, it was about this beautiful woman who attracted this guy. And unfortunately, she didn't have a second date after. Let's just put it that way. And so Eliza Day inspired an Australian band called Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Their song, Where the Wild Roses Grow. So Where the Wild Roses Grow pretty much retells the story of Eliza Day in the music video. And Eliza Day is portrayed by the iconic singer, also from Australia, Kylie Minogue. And Eliza Day's nickname in the folk story was the Wild Rose. And so she died by the river, or she was murdered by the river. And that's why she has like this little blue streak. It's to symbolize the water where, where she was laid, where her remains were found. And legend has it that she haunts the river, like you can hear her sing or something like that. So Eliza Day is the only doll in Series 9 that does come with accessories in hand. She comes with this rose. Really cute. Again, like Living Dead dolls, I can never get the peg into the hole that's in their hand, so I have it tied by a clear rubber band. And she comes with the rock that killed her. So the guy, hit her head with the rock. And that's why you see all this blood staining from her head. And it's just so well done. Like, if you could see it in the light, she has this blood stain on her hair, which is a beautiful golden honey color. Eliza Day was one of my first dolls when I got it back into collecting Living Dead dolls after a period of time that I wasn't, that I balked at the idea of paying $100 for one of these dolls. Little did I know that that was going to change as the years went on in continuing my collection. But she is one of those dolls that will start you at least $100. I paid $115 for her, sealed in coffin. And she goes for $125. She is just such a well-made doll. She's the only doll that has this eye placement, which is like a downcast. So pretty. And that's the thing about Eliza Day, is that she's just so unique in comparison to all the other Living Dead dolls who have, you have the creepy cute, you have the grotesque, and you do have those that look haunting like the Lost. And I feel like this is another one that's a little haunting because it's just so sad what happened to her, as part of the legend goes. She has this really pretty dress, very simple. And the dress has a bit of volume to it, but there's nothing underneath. See, there's no petticoat. She has shoes with socks, which are very similar to Posey. And so, again, she will cost you on the low end of the $100 range. But she is so worth it. She's just such a beautiful doll. And that is Eliza Day. Now we're going to talk about one of the famous dolls in overall Living Dead dolls run, Dawn. Dawn is such a highly sought after doll. She is the first zombie doll. Living Dead dolls will do one other zombie doll after her, and that's DK. And of course, they did an all zombie series, series 22. But Dawn is the gold standard of that horror trope of the zombie. She was in terms of the regular run of Series 9, she was the last doll I found when I was collecting to complete Series 9, because she is very expensive. I bought her opened for $100, which that was a steal, but I kind of had a difficult time finding her because mint in box, and this is like several years ago, she started at least at $200. It was insane. And she is just such a cool doll in terms of the details. So here's her chipboard. Okay. I'm going to pause. And just the details on her face. Now, true, we've had gash faces before. So, you know, so the gash face is not new, but like the veining of it on her face adds a new dimension to the zombie look. She has blood, so she definitely looked like she went on a feeding spree. And what I love about Dawn, just like Purdy, grotesque in terms of what she's done or what she's become, but she has this adorable outfit. I mean, look at this outfit. It's real corduroy feel, this dress. And look at these little flower patterns on her shirt. Like, that's a scream right there. Just in contrast to what she is and what she's done, and she has this adorable outfit. And personally, I feel series 22, the all zombie, didn't go as hardcore in the zombie design as Dawn. Dawn is still, like I said, the gold standard of that horror archetype. She has blood down her legs. Okay, she has shoes and socks. And she's just such an amazing doll. And what I love about Dawn, my favorite thing about Dawn, is her hair. Like, again, very much like Eliza Day. She has this beautiful brown color. This one has like highlights of like red, and she even has highlights of dark brown. Like, really cool. And like I said, she will cost you a pretty penny. She's highly sought after. Again, one of the most expensive dolls in Series 9. And like I said, I paid $100 for her. And she will run you about $150 to $200 to start. And her death date, which is perfect, it was the release of Dawn of the Dead movie. The original one, the one in the 70s. And she's just such a cool doll. Like, look at that. Amazing. And that is Dawn. And last but certainly not least, the most famous one of Series 9, and just one of the most iconic dolls of Living Dead dolls. She embodies Living Dead dolls. Like, when you say Living Dead dolls, and she's one of those images that comes to mind, and that's Toxic Molly. Toxic Molly, funny enough, when I got her for a steal. I didn't realize how much of a deal I got her years later. When I first bought her, it was in a comic book store in Jersey. And my husband has always said I have a terrible poker face. And the comic book store owner had her along with a bunch of Living Dead dolls. And at the time, all the ones that he had, I already had. And he had her sealed for $100. I know. You will not be able to find her. Not even out of the box, out of the coffin for that much. Because she, like I said, she's such an iconic doll. Unfortunately, I do not have a physical chipboard like the others because I couldn't find her secondary chipboard, which I had from her variant, so I'll have a photo of it for you to look at. Also, for Toxic Molly, I will not be removing her iconic gas mask. And the reason why is because this gas mask here is notorious for these grommets for falling off. Now, you can get a brand new Toxic Molly mint and coffin, and these will sometimes fall off. And when I was searching for Toxic Molly, that's what I've encountered a lot, is these grommets, either one is down and you can see it in the coffin, or both of them are off her face. So the grommets are not sewn into the masks. It's glued on, and then when you adjust her mask on her head, you pull on the grommets. And that happened when I I was handling War from the Four Horsemen, who also has a gas mask, and it came after Series 9, that doll. And so I do have a picture of her from the Mezco website, what she looks like without the mask. I just, again, I don't want to risk ruining her gas mask. And again, I can't replace her for anywhere near that price that I paid for her. So, you know, I'll show you her other details. So she has this adorable pigtail style with actual ribbons again. Beautiful. This dress, oh my gosh, how cute is this dress? It's like a velvety material. Like, she's just such a scream. And again, just like Eliza Day and Dawn and Purdy, you have this adorable aesthetic, but then you have this garish gas mask on her. Okay. You could tilt her up. There you go. And that's how it fastens in the back. And it's such a pain in the neck to take on and off. And that's also why, again, I'm not going to do it for you guys. I do apologize. She comes with these Mary Jane shoes and socks. Now, her death date, which actually matches the style of dress, which happened in the 80s. There was this nuclear disaster known as the Chernobyl accident. So her death date was before that awful nuclear breakdown. Her tongue is blue, which is what organs have when they are exposed to carbon monoxide poisoning. And like I said, I paid $100 for her sealed in coffin, and she can start out at least $250 to $300. And again, is it worth it? It depends how much you want to pay for the doll, but you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is going to run you money. I mean, this series is just, again, iconic, and I just think she's such an amazing doll, and highly recommend it in owning her. But again, be patient, shop around. She's, again, definitely gonna run you a bit. And that is Toxic Molly. So next we're going to go into the variants. So Series 9 was another series, very much like Series 5, that released a limited variant set. The dolls, the OG dolls, were released in March of 2005, and the variants didn't come out until June, but the pre-order was in April. So the variant set was available only through Mezco Direct, and it was limited to 666 sets, a number that Mezco Living Dead dolls love to have. They were only available in the US and Canada in terms of the website shipping them. And they were limited to one set per household. I miss those days when companies actually limit doll releases, don't you? And the best thing about the Series 9 variants is they all glowed in the dark. Here's a picture of them in their glowing glory. Just amazing. And they did tweak the designs, which is another thing I appreciate with this particular variant set. As Living Dead Dolls continues with the series and their variants, usually the variants is just a different in costume color. Like they usually go with an all red, all black and white. And with Series 9, not only did they, change the clothes, but they also changed certain aspects of the dolls. Like, for example, with the blue variant, she has blue hair, and she pretty much has the same outfit as Blue, but her face, like her eyes, look very different. It's a very different face. And I forgot to mention with blue, I mean with all of them, again, you have that black staining on the skin of the doll, especially with the black clothes. And just really cool. I just love that it's not just different. It's not just the same clothes, but they actually changed her hair and they changed her face. Okay. And that is variant blue. I paid for her I paid about $85 for her, sealed in coffin, which is a steal. And on the secondary market, she can start at $150. And that is variant blue. Variant Purdy also gets a little bit of a makeover. She gets hair this time in her variant version. Really cute. All black and white pajamas. The bunny slippers didn't change. They kept the same bunny slippers, which I thought was curious. It looked cool if it had like black ears at least. But, you know, again, her eyes are different too, with red. And same thing with the brain. It's actually exactly the same. They didn't change the brain to a different color or anything. And that is variant Purdy, who I paid mint in coffin. Hold on, sorry. I paid $100 for her, and she starts at $200. So that is Purdy. Now, of the variants in Series 9, this one was not my favorite, and that's Eliza Day. She still has the same blue tear streak, but her eyes are like just looking at you. And I feel like with this particular face, I feel like she looks like a lot of other dolls in Living Dead Dolls, various series. So I didn't think it was, I don't know, I felt like it was a little bit of a downgrade in comparison to the OG Eliza Day. She also has this added feature of a rose on her dress, because I guess you couldn't see like the blood stain on the dress, which you do have it, but it's like it's dried, so it's like really, you feel it, but you can't see it. And it's hard to see if she has the blood stain on her head. I don't think she does. But, you know, again, not a bad doll. She costs, for me, I paid $100 for her. Actually cheaper than her OG doll. And retail, she goes for $120, $130. And that is Eliza Day. So just real quick. There's her face. That's Eliza Day. Okay. And next is Dawn. Now, Dawn I thought was the coolest one of the variants, in that she's black and white, very reminiscent of the original Night of the Living Dead. Really cool. And she has the same material dress with corduroy, but her shirt is all white. No flowers. Really cool. And again, being that it's Dawn, her variant is not much cheaper. She cost me $294, her variant, and that was sealed in the coffin. And she starts at $260. So again, these girls are going to run you a pretty penny. And her blood on her hands and arms is black, you know, because it's black and white. Again, pretty much the same outfit. The shirt is different. And her hair is even, has like a hint of grayness to it, which I thought was really cool. And that is Variant Dawn. And last, but certainly once again, not least, Toxic Molly. Now, Toxic Molly, again, has the same exact dress, but it's in a green color. And she has matching green bows. Now, they said she had a hint of green to her skin. I don't see it. I mean, they all technically have a hint of green because they all glow in the dark, but I don't know. So anyway, she comes with the same gas mask, which does not glow in the dark. And what can I say? I can't say any more than I haven't said about her previous doll, except that she will cost you the most. She was the last one I got in this collection in terms of the variants, because again, of her price. I was able to get her opened for $300. And open but complete. She starts at $300 to $400 for her variant. And the interesting thing about Toxic Molly is that the choice of green for her dress, according to the Wikipedia page in Living Dead Dolls, it's a reference to a color called Paris green, which was a dye that was used for clothing that's no longer used because it was linked to being poisoned when it was absorbed in the skin. And it was paint that was used like on buildings and stuff. I don't believe it was in clothing, but very much like lead paint is dangerous. This Paris green was also very, very toxic, which is fitting for a doll called Toxic Molly. And that's it. That's all I have to say for Series 9. Again, an iconic series. Highly recommend these girls. But realistically speaking, just know it is going to cost you because they are such a famous series. Right up there with Series 19, the All Vampire series, for example. And, you know, do your research, especially like for someone like Eliza Day, you know, make sure she has her accessories. If you're interested in having a complete Eliza Day. She comes with a rock, she comes with a rose in both versions. So like I said, do your research. Toxic Molly, again, you can get her mint in box. Just know these grommets will fall or can fall within that packaging, and you can't really fault the seller. That's just the manufacturing error on Mezco's end. I wish they stitched the grommets to the mask so that doesn't happen, but just to let you know, that is a possibility. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. For all those who have commented on my videos, I greatly appreciate it. I love hearing feedback. And guess what? I made it to 200 subscribers. So those last subscribers who got me to 200, thank you so much. Would like to increase that number, but I'm happy with 200. It's a nice number. It's a nice round number. And stay tuned for more Living Dead Dolls content. And if you aren't a subscriber, please subscribe. And be notified for any new Living Dead Dolls videos. And as always, happy hunting.